Time now is 20 minutes away from 9.
The Radio Wemo Breakfast.
Sailing the high seas of movie trailers.
It's Trailer Sailor with Lyndon Puffin.
Trailer Sailor with Lyndon Puffin this morning. Good morning to you, Lyndon.
Kia ora. Yes. So what we were listening to there, what that apocalyptic hip-hop beat was for, a movie called Exit Through the Gift Shop. Exit Through the Gift Shop is a film by Banksy, it says. A film by Banksy. But who's Banksy? Some of you will be thinking, not John Banks, is it? No, of course not. It's not John Banks making a film with Rodney Hyde about the Andrew Williams. Banksy is regarded, for those of you who don't know, as one of the world's leading contemporary artists. And if you're ready for this Garth McVicker, you might want to sit down. He's a graffiti artist. Now, many of your listeners, of course, you'll already know his work. We assume he's a his because he's never been caught or interviewed or filmed. Lots of newspapers go, we've got a picture of Banksy. This is definitely Banksy, but he's never given any interviews or anything, and no one is really sure where he's from. We assume that Banksy is from Bristol in the UK, but his infamous stencil graffiti art has turned up all over the world, praised by many for its often scathing social and political messages, condemned by others for defacing public property. He's put the rocket launcher in Mona Lisa's hands, pashing male cops, the anarchist rat, children playing on a tropical island on the Israeli wall in the West Bank. He's an enigma. There's been hugely popular books and exhibitions of his work. A lot of his graffiti is now ironically protected by law. And now this film, Exit Through the Gift Shop, with a trailer that's almost as cryptic as the title of this film, which is not a documentary. Not a documentary about him, no. From what I can tell, an eccentric French shopkeeper, amateur filmmaker, has tried to track down and capture Banksy and his crew on film. Apparently he got their trust or something. However, Banksy figured out what was happening and turned the table on him and has created a film called Exit Through the Gift Shop, which is about an eccentric French shopkeeper trying to make a film about Banksy. So it's described as an action-adventure comedy and, quote, how one man set out to film the unfilmable and failed blog. It looks great. It's been incredibly well received at its premiere screening at the Sundance Film Festival earlier this year. Been released in the UK last week to rave reviews, and I'm sorry I can't give you more of an idea, but you've got to check out the trailer because in a sea of slick voiceover highlight package meal deals, this really is a unique 1-minute teaser. Watch out for it. Banksy, Exit Through the Gift Shop, 4 out of 5. Looks good.
Never. Let's not forget that food is a legal addiction. Everywhere I go, I'm constantly reminded of food.
Please, some things are tougher to kick than others. Let's just leave it at that.
Drugs have to be seeked out. Food is accessible. That's what makes food tougher to kick. No one is ever afraid of the fat guy. The fat guy's never going to take your girlfriend. That's why it's harder to be fat than it is to be a drug addict.
You're comparing yourself to me, comparing your life to me. The worst thing that ever happened to you is your mom cooked too much eating for dinner. That's the worst thing that ever happened to you. Come on, let's go!
Oh, Pounds. This is the movie Pounds, another Sundance Festival success. What is it? What is that great line in there? It's you never lose your girlfriend to the fat guy. Okay, Pounds was conceived, written, and acted by the central character Carmen Farmaglietti. And what he describes is an attempt to save life. Carmen as it turns out, Carmen's a stand-up comic. He's also a musician of note. But you see, he's in this movie he plays a 27-year-old, which he actually is. And this is weird crossover bio-doco movie thing here. So he's a 27-year-old, 300-pound Brooklyn Italian school bus driver, which he kind of is in real life, but he's seriously addicted to food. And 2 days before his sister's wedding, he suffers a minor heart attack while driving the school bus, injuring himself and a bunch of kids that were on it. Totally humiliated and dejected, he heads 200 miles upstate of New York, buys a dilapidated old trailer caravan in the woods with the intent of kicking his food addiction in isolation. But this is where this film gets really interesting, because you think, oh, well, that's just like a Bigger Loser thing, isn't it? You know, Biggest Loser, but reality thing. But no, you see, they actually did go in isolation. This is a fully independent film. They actually went and filmed him in the woods for like 2 years, losing 100 pounds of weight. And his cocaine-addicted friend went and joined him, and they decided to kind of kick the habit together and draw the kind of parallels between, drug addiction and food addiction. And say, hey, look, these are, in a globally obsessed, food-obsessed world, this is quite a relevant sort of subject. And yeah, it looks great. He eventually, I think he comes back and finds out, that losing the weight doesn't make your problems just disappear. It's a great trailer. It looks like it's going to be a really special film, and it is a much better way of dealing with this issue than some of the or much more empathetic way than some of those humiliating Biggest Loser reality shows. It looks brave and honest and compelling, but it also looks very funny and relevant. It's called Pounds, just L with a B and an S on it, LBS, Pounds. Looks like a really great independent film, honest. I'm giving that one 4 out of 5 as well. Whams.
If we're gonna date, you may have to defeat my 7 evil exes. You have 7 evil ex-boyfriends?
Bingo. Consider our fight begun.
And I have to defeat your 7 evil exes? Pretty much.
Prepare to die.
What?
What's up? How's life? He seems nice.
I want to take them apart.
Tell you what, I'm starting to detect a little bit of a theme. We end on the comic films.
Yeah. This has just happened. I mean, this looks great, but it is another comic book film adaptation. This is Brian Lee O'Malley. This one. Brian Lee O'Malley launched the Scott Pilgrim series back in 2004, and so far released 5 books. They're little graphic novels, but they're little like the size of a Reader's Digest, not to be confused with Reader's Digest. Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Life, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, this film, Scott Pilgrim and the Infinite Sadness, Scott Gets It Together, Scott vs. the Universe, and the last one's coming out this year, which is called Scott Pilgrim's Finest Hour. So, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, starring Michael Cera, man of the moment, that nice, cool guy from Juno, the dad from Juno. He was, of course, from the Arrested Development TV series, Superbad, Youth and Revolt. He's in every second movie that I see, and he's perfect to play Scott Pilgrim, who's a 22-year-old slacker and bass player in his indie band Sex Bob Om, which is a great name, Sex Bob Om. In a nutshell, anyway, Scott meets the actual girl of his dreams and chats her up, and they fall in love, and it's all good. But, of course, as a catch, she's had 7 previous partners who all happen to have superpowers of sorts, and therefore he has to man up and defeat 7 evil exes. Now, I know this sounds lame, but it's from the director of Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. So it's kind of where the serendipitous approach and the movie tagline. This gives it away. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It is an epic of epicness. Fans of Superbad, Napoleon Dynamite, unite. This is going to be a blast, and it's due out in August here. Also giving this one 4 out of 5 for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. But just before I go, I want to say wicked, the Taika Waititi, for having the #1 film in the country and taking twice as much money as Alice in Wonderland did over the last weekend. That's fantastic. And shouts out to Tash, who's watched every Trailer Sailor from the UK. We appreciate your feedback.
Choice.
That's brilliant. And that's Trailer Sailor for another week. The Trailer Trash will continue next Tuesday. Signing off.
Cheers, Lyndon Puffin.
We all have baggage. Yeah, well, my baggage doesn't try and kill me every 5 minutes.
Scott Pilgrim versus the world.
Next time, we don't date the girl with 11 evil ex-boyfriends.
7.
Oh, that's not that bad.
The Radio Waymo Breakfast. Catch that interview in video on demand at kiwifm.co.nz.